Yo, what's going on, guys? We're back with another Worlds 2023 Swiss Stage Draft Analysis. This game we'll be covering NRG, which is the first team of NA versus MAD. And in this game, we have a pretty decent understanding about what teams are prioritizing in draft. There's also a lot of different styles of depending what people are going for, but certain champions are like going up and down in priority as we see more and more results come through. And one thing to know is that by the end of this stage, we'll pretty much have a pretty solid idea of what our meta is going to be. In this case, we see a couple of tech bans come through, and this could indicate what teams are looking to shape the overall compositions to be. So with some interesting ones here are the Belveth ban from NRG, straight up first phase against Elyoya, as well as the Jax ban, and as well as the Xayah ban coming out from MAD. What this means is that it reduces the viability of the Xayah B1 chain that a lot of teams are going for. So MAD just doesn't even want to play Recon. They don't want to deal with that. That's the total outcome of this, right? Because that means NRG would probably open Xayah. MAD doesn't want to feel pressured to deal with Recon, or they just simply don't want to deal with Xayah in team fighting anyway. So just getting that direction of draft out of the way is the reason for that ban. Jax is also one for Chazzy, potentially make space for him to not have to deal with any bad matchups, and to open for the R1, R2 Rumble. So this champion has been going up like crazy in terms of stonks. These two, Rumble and Kennen, are two champs that are very classic in terms of just they have zero presence until Worlds comes around, and then when Worlds comes around, they're always permanently strong, right? These weak side, low resource, in terms of Kennen, it's weak side, but these big AoE damage champions that just excel in team fighting can neutralize a lot of lanes. Like this, time and time again, we see that this is something that teams really enjoy. The Orianna ban is also really interesting from MAD as we go through the first picks here. Maokai B1's not too interesting. What also is interesting is the Alistar priority from a lot of teams. It's quote unquote the best engaged support right now, outside of like Xayah paired with Rakan. NRG lead with the Jace on B2, B3. This is definitely like just a stylistic thing. And they also follow up with Kai'Sa, which is super interesting. Personally, I think revealing that you're going for this champion is a little bit early, but this could be because NRG wants to take away the champion from MAD, so it kind of makes sense. The Jace is purely something that they prioritize themselves. It's technically a light flex pick as well between Dokla and Palafox, because Palafox does enjoy playing it in mid as well. R3 Jarvan is also something that is technically increased in strength due to the Belveth ban, but I wouldn't say it's anything too incredible against what NRG have to offer. So in this case, I would consider it not really necessary at R3, right? But if there's anything they could have like picked, or if they were afraid of having the pool choked out even further, it's understandable. But there are things that they could have picked in order to counter for AD. Otherwise, they might lose some, but it seems not to be the case here. So far, this draft is allowing them to do so. But they are giving up other potential priority picks. Sivir ban coming out as well, which gives a hint as to what we're potentially going to see from MAD in terms of AD carry, or NRG rather, in terms of support, because this opens up the gates for things like Nautilus, Leona, right, and the Nilah comes out. Very spicy. But to be honest, out of all the champions let's break this down, okay? So out of all the champions that can be picked in this slot, it's actually not bad because NRG actually kind of gave some info to MAD on B2, B3, right? Showing that Kai'Sa this early typically indicates that, like, hey, you're going to go in, you're going to pick some engaged champions, and you're going to, try to start something. But the issue with this is that although they have that, yes, NRG does have that, they also have the Jace. And because of this, MAD kind of shot themselves in the foot here, giving NRG the free win condition of like altering their comp just to play for Jace instead. And although Nilah is an incredibly hard scaling champion, it is a champion that scales hard. Like, scaling is contextual, right? In this case, she's basically being used as Walmart Samira. And while it's not a bad thing in lane, as soon as you get to these long-term team fights, like the issues with Neela, especially in competitive play, are going to shine a lot. You're not going to be able to reach. You have to start fights and really go for things. But this makes her into basically a Walmart Samira, and in which case you should have just picked Samira, right? Like, look at the way Matt's comp's going to function. They want to go in, but they have this Neela that can't really create space or like DPS properly. They're basically a full engaged comp, right? They may as well have drafted Jax here. Like, that's basically what it is, right? And because they're going to deal with this issue that they have all of this Jace poke, and they have champions that can also punish Mad as they try to go in. These champions are not exclusive to just going forward. These champions are excellent at being able to reposition and maximize Mad's engage. Right? Kaisa is really great self-sufficiency. Probably one of the strongest in that regard in terms of being able to survive long term in fights. And that's why it's going to be pretty hard for Mad to get through. They have decent strength in like top side with the Rumble, but it's been neutralized with the Jace. I would say it's pretty even matchup. And it's just easier for NRG to really pilot and kind of navigate through this. Like, I respect the needle. It's actually pretty sweet, but it might have not been the right time. If anything, I probably would have picked it R5 because you really want. It's such a meta. Sorry, not meta. It's such a comp shifting pick to go for. If that makes sense. So, if it were me, I would give this advantage to NRG in terms of draft. It's probably like 65-35 because of this. But I respect the idea from teams to kind of go for things like this. Hopefully this was insightful, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.